Hello, welcome to News at 10 on TV3 and 3FM 92.7. We're live from the News Hub at Adesawe Kanda and streaming on our Facebook page and 3news.com. You can also watch us on your DSTV channel 279. Let's now take a look at this major summary of the major news items for the day. Former Ghana Cocoa Board CEO Stephen Opuni and businessman Seidu Agongo made a first appearance in court and pleaded not guilty to causing financial loss to the state. Dr. Opuni and Director General of Agriculture Ghana Limited, Seidu Agongo, have been accused of causing financial loss to the state. On academic activities in schools at Anwea in the Ashanti region have resumed after violent clashes between two youth groups claimed one life last week. Commercial activities have also picked up while security remains beefed up in the town. An interministerial committee has been set up to embark on a fight against open defecation along the country's beaches. Led by the Tourism Ministry, the committee, which comprises of 5 other ministries, is expected to identify new strategies to totally eradicate the menace. And also, Sierra Leone's High Court on Monday cancelled an injunction to delay the second round of presidential elections, saying the vote could go ahead as planned. The face-off between the opposition leader Julius Maada Bio and ruling party standard-bearer Samura Kamara was put on hold by the court on Saturday after a member of Kamara's All People's Congress alleged fraud in the first round. It was unclear when the vote, which had been scheduled for Tuesday, whether it will go ahead. Those are our major news highlights. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook and on 3news.com. You can also hear us on 3FM 92.7. Up next is the big one. Now, the National Union of Ghana Students, NUGS, is set to embark on a nationwide demonstration on Wednesday, March 28, against the controversial Defense Cooperation Agreement between Ghana and the United States. NUGS is against the agreement which will earn Ghana $20 million in training and equipment supply. The student body wants the Council of State to, as a matter of urgency, withdraw the agreement for reassessment and renegotiation. We do have in the studio, fortunately, Frank Amarkwahine, the national president of the Ghana National Union of Students, NUGS. Mr. Amarkwahine, good evening and thank you very much. Today, you were supposed to start your nationwide strike today.
Today, yes.
What happened?
Okay, the activities are as follows. From today to Wednesday, we protesting. It's called the Red Week protest, where students will be in red, like I'm in red. In attending lectures and what have you. The actual protest, being the demonstration, would be on Wednesday, starting at 6 a.m. at Obrasport. So that is the itinerary.
I did mention mentioned to you earlier that when we ran checks at the University of Cape Coast and University of Ghana, the keenness among the students was lost. Many of them didn't know that they were supposed to start anything at all. I don't get it. So why didn't information get to the ground in good time for them to turn up in their numbers for today's activities?
Great. Today's activity wasn't like putting students together for a protest. No. And I indicated early on to you that the communique came late yesterday night because of the delay in that decision making and because of the distance between today and the Wednesday. So actually, as I'm sitting here, we had to now have a meeting at Legon. We went to UPSA, GIJ, in preparing for tomorrow and then for Wednesday. But I can assure you, with all due diligence, that the Wednesday program is going to see students turning up in their numbers to protest so far as the future of this country.
So what is happening tomorrow? Nothing?
It's a red protest. So we are not like putting students together for a conference or whatever.
So the real massing up of students starts on Wednesday. But
absolutely.
What are you seeking to do or to achieve with that this protest of yours?
Thank you very much. You see, when the issue came up, we had to peruse the document as a union. And I mentioned early on that Articles 11, 12, 9, and then 16, those are the key areas of concern to us as a union, where the U.S. government and military is given the opportunity to import here into this country without tax, without customs duties or what have you, and worst of it all, without the security agencies of this country having the opportunity to inspect what they are bringing into our country. So if the United States of America wants to import a nuclear weapon into Ghana, we would have no idea about it. And trust me, U.S. has no permanent friend. So the next moment where you fall apart with the United States, they can do whatever they want, because security-wise, you don't have any idea what they have so far as the base or their facilities in Ghana is concerned. That is very catastrophic and dangerous for the country. So our call is that the president, every stakeholder of this country should see the urgency and the need for us to renegotiate the terms and conditions.
But the agreement has already been ratified by Parliament. You recognize that, absolutely, correct? So if you are seeking renegotiation, how are you expecting that will happen?
Okay, so you see, in an agreement, it is a two-sided affair. The president actually is supposed to add a note verbal and communicate same to the government of the United States before the agreement actually is accepted. So we are not at that stage yet. So we are not at a state of irreversibility. That is why the union is still impressing and then ensuring that at the end of the day, our message is clearly communicated to the president, that in appending your signature, you should get to know what you are signing the country into, and the fact that we as the next generation and the future of the country, we are not satisfied with regards to what is in there as agreement between Ghana and the United States.
Right, Mr. Makohini, we'll have you hold. Meanwhile, the executive, this issue will not go away. The executive director for the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism, Emmanuel Coting, has also sued the state over the controversial defense cooperation agreement between Ghana and the United States. Mr. Coting is seeking from the Supreme Court a declaration that on a true and proper interpretation of Article 72, Section 2B of the 1992 Constitution. Mr. Coting, we're grateful to have him join us on Skype now. Joining us on Skype is Mr. Emmanuel Coting. Mr. Coting, good evening and thank you. We're grateful that you could join us on Skype.
Good evening, sir, and good evening to your cherished viewers.
Right. So we have gone through all these processes again over radio earlier. We spoke with you, but I need you to give us a clear understanding of what actually informed your decision to seek interpretation at the Supreme Court.
Well, thank you once again. Like I mentioned, because I have filed the case, I'm duty bound not to speak on the merit of the case, but except that I can speak on the reliefs I'm seeking. And what actually influenced me to go to the Supreme Court is that as a private individual and as a good citizen of the Republic of Ghana, I felt that certain provisions in our Constitution were not followed, to the extent that this is an international agreement that will have generational consequences. So if we don't situate or have a good foundation for such an agreement in law, it will be setting a very bad precedent for us as a country.
So I need to focus on the article you are seeking interpretation, Article 75(2)B of the 1992 Constitution. What exactly are you seeking? What kind of interpretation are you hoping to get from your case to the Supreme Court?
Well, I'm seeking a declaration that by true and proper interpretation of Article 75 2B, an agreement ought to have been executed between the government of Ghana and the United States of America before same can be brought to Parliament for ratification.
You do recognize that this has already been ratified by Parliament?
Yes, so...
And it makes no difference to you?
It does make a lot of difference. If I'm able to get this relief, it means that whatever has been done in Parliament is null and void.
And beyond Article 72, what other reliefs have you been seeking the Supreme Court?
So to the extent that the document that was brought before Parliament was not properly executed, it was neither signed or even dated by the president or any of his representatives. So in effect, there was nothing before Parliament to rectify. And I'm also seeking a declaration that to the extent that this was brought before the Defense and Security Committee, and they passed a resolution and it was brought before Parliament for ratification, I'm seeking a proper declaration that such an activity was not also in conformity with our law. And the last one is just about collateral in nature. I want us to look at Article 75, which talk about the interest of Ghana in the execution of international contracts or agreements, whether indeed in the true proper interpretation of Article 73, whether Ghana's interest was served. So these are the reliefs basically I'm seeking from the apex court of our land.
Mr. Emmanuel Coating, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much, Mr. Coating. And we're still staying on this. I did tell you that the NUGS, the local president of the Union of Ghana Students NUGS at the University of Ghana, Maxwell Edutechi, has denied knowledge of any planned protests by the students following the passing of the U.S.-Ghana Military Cooperation Agreement. A statement signed by the president, who is here with us in the studio, Frank Amoako-Hene, called for a Red Week protest by members starting Monday. However, upon visiting the University of Ghana campus Monday, TV3 got the impression students did not actually comply with the directive.
A release from the National Union of Ghana Students NUGS asked members to protest the U.S.-Ghana Military Cooperation Agreement by wearing red bands to lectures. A protest march had also been planned for Wednesday, March 28. At the University of Ghana campus at Legon, students said they were unaware of any directive. Consequently, students were attending their normal lectures.
Even I'm shocked to hear this information as at now. I haven't heard anything about that.
I haven't heard of anything like that. We are not aware of anything. The SRC itself have not told us anything about it, so I can't tell myself personally.
Interestingly, the local chapter of NUGS at the University of Ghana corroborated the claims by the students.
As it stands now, I'm the local National Union of Ghana Students for University of Ghana. And if we are supposed to go through such directive, it should come from the National Secretariat. And as it stands now, as I'm speaking to you now, we've not had any formal or even informal directive from the National Secretariat that we should go through this protest.
The Students' Representative Council, SRC, also did not know of any planned demonstration.
Right, so we have Frank Amoako-Hene still here. So I raised this issue earlier to you. It did appear that not many of the students were ready for the Red Protest Day, but what assurances do you have that it's going to be any different from tomorrow and Wednesday?
Okay, thank you very much. As I indicated earlier on, communication was Sunday at around 10 p.m. and today we actually had to visit the schools and I had to submit hard copies of such letters. I was there with the convener for GFP and we duly did that. So we expecting students to comply and most students to be in red, especially for lectures tomorrow. And also, as we indicated early on, passes are made available for Wednesday's protest, which is commencing 6 a.m. at Obra Sports, to petition and then send our information out as far as the issues are concerned.
Right. So that's and also Pressure Group Economic Freedom Fighters is calling on Ghanaians to rise up and reject the unison. The 2018 military agreement Ghana has just signed with the United States. But I have with me a representative from Ghana First. You said Edem Agbanu, right? Agbana. Okay, yeah. So Ghana First, your position is just similar to that of the Nukes. Yes, you're also against the agreement that is signed by Ghana and the United States.
Yeah, like many Ghanaians, Ghana First Patriotic Front, we are against the agreement, and we are actually the organization that is spearheading the organization of the demonstration on Wednesday. And National Union of Ghana Students is just one of our partners. We have many organizations, civil society organizations, some religious organizations that have also called to pledge. And indeed, many students are also on board this particular demonstration.
So what, you are the ones who are organizing?
Yes.
The Economic Freedom Fighters who went to Parliament under Ernesto Yeboah, and then, or you're just organizing the students?
The beauty of the organization that is ongoing is that because we do share the same values, because we do share the same belief that this particular agreement is not in the best interest of Ghana, we are complementing each other's effort. And on Wednesday, you will see lots of people at the Obra Sports that are ready to demonstrate their anger against the government of Ghana.
Edem Agbana, we'll leave it here. We wish you the very best with the organization of your protest. I'm Stephen Enti. This is News at 10. We're live from the News Hub at Adesawe Kanda. You can also follow our live stream on Facebook. If you're logged on to 3FM 92.7, you can also hear us. We'll be right back with more news. Please stay. Welcome back. Now, I am not guilty. Well, these were the words of the former CEO of Kokobo, Dr. Stephen Opuni, when each of the 27 counts were read to him in court. Dr. Opuni and Director General of Agriculture Ghana Limited, Seidu Agongo, have been accused of causing financial loss to the state. Here's a report by my colleague Godfrey Tanam.
The state is represented by a team of 13 lawyers led by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Gloria Kofo. They include two of her deputies, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, Joseph Dindiok Penka, and Chief State Attorney Evelyn Coulson. The legal representation of Dr. Opuni was Samuel Kujo, and that of Seidu Agongo and Agriculture Ghana Limited were Benson Nutupi and Nutifafa Nutupi. After taking their plea, lawyers for both accused persons sought for self-recognizance bail for their clients, insisting they will be present anytime they are needed. Without any opposition from the state, the Court of Appeal judge, who sits in as an additional High Court judge, granted them bail. In the trial that lasted close to 3 hours, Samuel Kujo, lawyer for Dr. Opuni, told the court he is prepared to prove to the court the innocence of his client.
The two persons have been granted bail to the tune of 300,000 cedis, and they are supposed to submit their passport to the Director General CID, and each day or anytime they want to travel outside the country, they are supposed to report same to the Director General CID, and the Director General CID had to submit a report to the Register of the Court 48 hours before such an activity can take place. The court has therefore adjourned the case to the 11th, 16th, 17th, 24th and 30th of April. From the Law Court Complex here in Accra, Godfrey Tanam, TV3 News.
And earlier, heavily armed police officers were positioned at vantage points within the premises of the court complex. There's another report by Godfrey Tanam.
Anticipating the crowd at the court premises, police officers were deployed to give maximum security. The arrangement worked out as supporters of the accused persons thronged to the court premises to show solidarity. It was a chaotic scene at the entrance of the courtroom where some individuals were denied entry, which could have resulted in a brawl without the presence of the police. Some NDC bigwigs, including the former Chief of Staff Julius Debra, former Attorney General Marita Brua Piopon, former Fisheries Minister Shelley Ayite, former Deputy Communications Minister Phyllis Kwachiofosu, Party Secretary Johnson Isiedun Ketia, and National Organizer Kofi Adams were all present. Godfrey Tanam, TV3 News.
And in other news, economic activities in schools at Enria in the Ashanti region have resumed after violent clashes between two youth groups in the area claimed the life of one person last week. Commercial activities have also picked up while security remains beefed up in the town. Here's a report by correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar.
One person died while several others sustained injuries on Monday, March 19, when two youth groups at Amhia in the Kwabre East municipality clashed. The violent incident led to a temporary closure of schools and halted commercial activities in the township. Security was beefed up to restore law and order. Calm has been restored in the area a week after the incident. About 80% of the students showed up for academic activity to continue. Reports gathered by the news team suggest some teachers are yet to resume. Commercial activities have also started picking up. Many shops were open to business. Some business operators were hopeful that security agencies will bring a lasting peace in the area.
The youth knows that even the police are right here, so they are not even doing anything wrong here. So I know that they can even do the right thing. They don't even do anything that was even happen again.
We plead for the collaboration between the police and the DCE to help sustain peace in the area.
Kwabre East Municipal Security Council on Friday engaged community leaders and tasked residents to expose criminals for the law to deal with them. The council also resolved to disband all suspected criminal youth groups in the area.
And an interministerial committee has been set up to embark on a fight against open defecation along the country's beaches, led by the Tourism Ministry. The committee, which comprises of 5 other ministries, is expected to identify new strategies to totally eradicate the menace.
Open defecation is rife, especially at the country's beaches, making it unclear if the country would be able to meet Goal 6 of the Sustainable Development Goals on sanitation by the 2030 deadline. By 2030, participating countries should achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all and end open defecation. A 2015 report by the World Health Organization and UNICEF placed Ghana 7th as the dirtiest country in the world. At a news conference to outline a plan to end open defecation at the country's beaches, an interministerial committee, which comprises the Ministries of Sanitation, Special Initiative, Fisheries and Aquaculture, Local Government and Information, were announced.
In collaboration with Special Initiatives Ministry and Sanitation, we hope in the next 2-3 weeks we should have prefab toilet facilities to be amending or augmenting what is already in existence. Because people were interviewed and they said, yes, we know there are toilet facilities, but we don't use it. It's a very terrible excuse. We know it's behavioral change, but we want to go on the assumption that it is not enough.
The Tourism Minister, Catherine Ablema Afeku, said coastal regional ministers would support in the fight against the menace. Public figures in the arts industry, who are mostly tourism ambassadors, would be engaged to join the campaign as a way of sustaining the fight, especially at the country's beaches, making it unclear if the country would be able to meet Goal 6 of the Sustainable Development Goals on sanitation by the 2030 deadline. By 2030, participating countries should achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene. She appealed to the media to help make this campaign a success.
Very, very nasty way of ending our bulletin with all those open defecation. But that's how we wrap up. My name is Stephen Anti. Thank you very much for staying with us. On behalf of the crew here, good night. There is more news at 3news.com.